Hello. So today I want to talk about how to use Ascension energy to transmute fear. And I actually got this title. YouTube has this thing now where you can use AI to come up with ideas for videos. And I thought, well, I'm going to try this because I've never done it before, but it sounds interesting. And this is what AI came up with. Apparently, this is something that people search for and they want to know how to do this. So, I'm going to share some divine knowledge with you on how you can do this. But first of all, I want to break it down to the bottom line. Ascension energy is nothing more than using your higher consciousness. Because when we're ascending into higher levels of consciousness. We're going beyond the human mentality and we're going into the spiritual mentality. So that's what ascension energy is. It is using your higher consciousness in order to live in a different manner, to live in a different way where you are more proactive and procreating in co-creating your own reality. So let's talk about this. So when we have an immediate reaction of fear, there's a lot of things that occur within the body, like within a millisecond. Our breathing becomes very shallow. Our heart rate increases very quickly. And our body releases hormones of adrenaline and cortisol. And this all happens before you can even blink an eye. So the body is already ahead of the mind when it comes to fear. Our body goes into that fight or flight mode, that survival mode, before we can even recognize what's happening. And before you know it, you're in a panic. So let's talk about how to come out of that panic and how to use our higher consciousness to move forward. The first thing you want to do is control your breathing immediately, because if you cannot control your breathing, you're not going to be able to control your thoughts in order to rationalize. So immediately use a breathing technique. The one that I really like is the 4-7-8. It works very well when you need to regulate your breathing. And how you do that is you inhale to the count of 4, and then you hold to the count of 7, and then you exhale to the count of 8. And when you exhale, I like to really push that last bit of air out. I mean, like push it down from your gut out of you, because that helps a lot when you're trying to regulate your breathing. So that's where you want to start. Breathing control is the most important thing. The next thing you want to do is talk to yourself rationally. Now, of course, if you are in actual danger, if you are fearing for your life and you're in actual danger, you're not going to worry about your breathing. You're going to immediately seek help or shelter or call 911. So that's a given. But if you are not in immediate danger, and that's what we're talking about today, then what you want to do is tell yourself, speak to yourself, even if you have to do it out loud. Just say, everything is going to be okay for the next few minutes. And that's all you need to talk about is just the next few minutes. You don't need to worry about an hour from now, a day from now. Just for the next few minutes, everything is going to be okay. And you can repeat this to yourself like 50 times if that's what you need. Continue to say it until you feel it in your heart and in your mind. Now, the next step is, now that you've gotten past the immediate emotions and your body's immediate reactions, and you've determined whether this is an actual threat and you fear for your life or it's not, then you want to try to reframe the situation mentally. And you can ask yourself, like, is it possible that I am reacting from a place of mental muscle memory? Is this a pattern of reaction for me? And a lot of people, a lot of info out there will say, ask yourself, is this actually true? But I personally don't recommend that because whatever you're experiencing in that moment that has caused immediate fear within you, it's true for you. It may not be true for other people, but for you and your experience, what you're dealing with in that moment, it's true for you. So I really personally don't think that's a necessary question. But do ask yourself, is this a pattern of reaction for me? Is this how I react? Do I immediately go in a fight or flight mode, a survival mode when I am facing fear? And then ask yourself, can I look at this situation from a higher perspective, an ascended perspective, using our higher consciousness to look at it? And then you want to proceed to what is actually in my control to change. Because not everything is in your control. And you don't need to worry about things that are outside of your control because that just causes more stress. So, what is actually in my control to change? And then focus on that one thing that you can actually do that is actually in your control. Sometimes we have to take things small step by small step in order to get through situations. When you're feeling fear, it's very hard to look forward to the next day. You need to take care of the moment as it arises. You need to work through what you're experiencing in that moment. And that's all you need to worry about. Continue to say, everything's going to be okay for the next few minutes. And that buys yourself enough time to start asking yourself the reframing questions that you want to ask. And then when you have that one thing, just start with one thing that you can actually do in that moment. Then focus on that one thing and do it. Do it mindfully. Don't just go through the motions. Pay attention in the moment to what you're doing. Because as we continue to stay present, as we continue to breathe consciously, we are regulating our nervous system again, and you're retraining your body to approach fear from a higher perspective, from a more advanced angle. And then the last thing I would say to do is when you have calmed down, when your breathing has regulated, when you're able to focus, when you are doing that one thing that you can control, that is in your control, then take some time to pray or meditate or whatever it is that you do to seek within, to find that higher perspective from your higher self, your true soul essence. Ask yourself for the wisdom and the insight on how to proceed forward with whatever it is you're dealing with whatever the situation is, because all knowledge, all wisdom, all understanding comes from your true soul essence. It comes from within. And that's where you need to seek. You need to seek within. Of course, you can ask people for their help, their suggestions, their opinions, but ultimately, you need to trust your true soul essence more than other people's opinions and suggestions and things like that. Even with this video that I am putting out right now and giving you this divine knowledge that I have, seek within. Always seek within and allow your higher self to reveal the truth to you, because maybe this method won't work for you. Maybe your higher self has a better method for you. I'm just sharing with you what has worked for me and what I have learned. But if your higher self has a better method for you, then do that. Always trust your higher self, your true soul essence, above everything and all. So I hope this video helped you in some way, shape, or form. Or maybe it will help someone you know. Share it with them. And I am sending you all lots of love and lots of activation energy.